Hello guys, welcome to the next episode in this Mercedes Sprinter van conversion. This is the second part of our shower build. If you're new to this video and you haven't seen the first part of the shower build, I'll put a link up here and I'll also put a link in the description. I suggest maybe go and watch that video first. That's the first part of the shower build, and then come back to this video to watch the completion of it. So in that first video we built the main carcass, we got the tray in position, we built the side walls, and we've clad all of that with the PVC cladding. And in this video what we've left to do is build that front wall with the two doors in it. We've got the door for the cassette toilet and we've got the main shower door. We've also got to clad that with PVC, and then we've got to screw the whole lot together to complete that little cubicle. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the build. We just installed the extract fan in our shower and just connected up the wiring just to test it. Obviously it runs fine. It's low voltage, runs off a 12 volt. It's got a built-in humidistat so that it will come on if it gets very humid in here, and it's got a run-on timer as well, and it operates off this little pull cord. So if I turn it off, you'll see the light disappear, but the fan will remain running. I think I've set it for about a couple of minutes, so we won't wait until it goes off, but the timer runs out and then the fan switches itself off. Let me show you what I've done with the lights in the shower. Remember, we built this wooden frame which ties all of the walls together at the head of the shower. I've painted it all white so it sort of disguises it a little bit, and then I've run a white LED lighting strip all the way around the inside of it. And then I've purchased a bit of opaque acrylic. I've got a bigger sheet, but this is a sample that they sent me, and basically this will go over the top of this frame, cover it all in. You won't be able to see any of the strip or any of the frame, but when the light comes on it will act like a light box, and it will just be a massive white panel on the top of the shower. These are the lights at their very brightest, but what I'm going to do on the feet of these, I'm going to put a little voltage regulator on them and then turn the voltage down to about 8 or 9 volts. And then what that'll do, at the moment on their max setting they're running at about 3 amps. If I turn them down to 9 volts, I can dim the lighting very slightly, still more than effective, and they'll only run at probably less than 1 amp. Just by varying that voltage, you can see there I can dim them or bring them right up bright, but we don't need them that bright, otherwise you'll need sunglasses to go into the shower. And then what happens when you put the opaque sheet on, obviously it just acts like a diffuser. So what we'll get is we'll just get, you know, like a light box effect. This is the last section of wall for the shower cubicle. This is obviously where the front door is and the little door for the Thetford cassette toilet. You've seen me cut these ply panels before. I've simply used masking tape and then marked on top of that with a pencil, and then I've cut these shapes with a jigsaw. So here's the front wall of the shower. There's those two doorways that we cut earlier. I've purposely left this board a little bit long. You can see it overhanging on the edge here. That's because what I've done is I've put a bit of tape down the back side there. It fits lovely on the floor and all up that side of the centre partition, and it fits really nice across the ceiling. And then what I've done now is I've pushed it up against that side wall, and then from the inside, it's a little bit dark in here but bear with me, from the inside here what I've done is I've run a pencil now down this inside edge, and then that's obviously where we need to cut to, and that board will fit in there really nice and snug. Put lining paper on the inside of the shower wall so that we can draw around internally to give us the exact size for the PVC sheet that I need to stick to the back of this. So I just need to cut my way in first so I can get in there to mark it with a pencil. So we've got the shower wall with the lining paper on the inside. We put it back in place in the van. We drew around the internal shape of the PVC that will have put a mark on the inside of this lining paper. I'm now going to transfer the lining paper to a fresh sheet of PVC, and then we can cut out the internal shape that's got to be stuck on the inside of this wall. To glue the PVC to this last piece of shower board, put a bit of masking tape on the inside, offered the board back up into the shower, and then penciled around everything. We've made sure that that's where the PVC is going to finish, so we can see a pencil line all the way around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the protective coating. I've put a knife through that line, so I'm going to remove the protective coating where we're going to stick the silicone, and then what's left on here will just act as a guide so that we can make sure that we get the PVC in exactly the right place when we put it back. We've got to glue the PVC sheet to the shower wall before it goes into the shower, because there's no way we'll get that sheet of PVC through the doorway. So to help us do that, we've just set up some trestles in the workshop with some 2x4 timbers and some old lengths of OSB to create a really flat level surface, because I don't want to bond the PVC to the Zebrano. If it's at all bent, it needs to be as level as possible, because once the glue's gone off, obviously it will stay in that shape. The PVC sheet has now had overnight for all of the adhesive to go off, so it's really securely stuck to the furniture board now. What I've got set up in the trim router is a flush trimming bit riding on a little ball bearing. I've just got a little bit of the bit exposed, just enough to take off this PVC sheeting, and then the ball bearing will run around the inside of these door apertures. So what that'll do now is that'll trim this PVC exactly to these door openings. I've got the dust extract hooked up to the router as well, because I know this PVC is going to make a bit of a mess. For the second part of this operation, I've changed the flush trimming bit for a chamfering bit. Basically, it's a 45-degree angle on this blade. Again, it's riding on a little ball bearing, so it will run round the inside of this timber furniture board. And what it will do is it will just put a tiny little chamfer on this edge, so it will just put a little bevel on here basically. And what that will allow us to do is we've got to trim these edges with the PVC push on trim. I've just put a little bit in here so you can see what the effect is. And then that will just give us a really nice finish on this edge. Obviously once this blue plastic comes off, I'll pull a little bit off there so you can see how that's going to finish inside the shower. You know, that's going to look really nice, and it will hide the join between the PVC and the furniture board. There you can see that edge in a bit more detail. We've trimmed it flush with the furniture board, and then we've put that little 45-degree chamfer on the side. Now what we want to do is we want to router the slot for the T-trim. Not everything goes to plan. I've jumped ahead of myself a little bit. I routed the slot for the trim here, and I forgot to mark the position of the hinges. There's a centre screw that goes in the hinge, and I really meant to leave a little bit of wood here to be able to screw into that. So what I'm having to do is just glue a little bit of plywood back into those hinge locations. Once this goes off, it'll be absolutely fine. That'll be as good as the original plywood. So I come into the van this morning and found one of the LED tapes has just come unstuck and it's just hanging down in the shower here. So obviously that self-adhesive tape that's on the back of these is pretty rubbish, to be honest. I can already see that this one's starting to come away as well, so we're going to have to think of a better way of fixing that before we close up this ceiling. Otherwise that's just going to keep coming off. That's going to be a real pain. Yeah, that hot glue, that shouldn't come off. Got the shower wall back in now. The joins on that PVC board look really nice and small, so we'll get away with just a nice little neat bead of mastic down there. Just got to make sure we can get the toilet back in with this wall in place, otherwise I've got to plumb the toilet in first and then put the wall back in, so we'll just check that. And then really it just remains to fix this wall now, and then remove the blue protective covering, and then just go around with that final bead of mastic everywhere. This corner joint on the shower where these two furniture boards meet is about the only place in the van where I can't get away without having exposed fixings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a pilot hole through this piece of furniture board into the end grain of this piece and then drive a screw right the way through. It's probably the most secure way of sort of fixing these two boards together, And then what we'll do is we'll put a little discreet black screw cap over the end of the screw. We'll countersink it so it's nice and flush, and then finish it off with a black cap. And then what I've done is I've just marked them at equal centres all the way down the edge of this board, so that when you do look at them, at least they'll be in a line and they'll be equally spaced. These little caps have a tendency to pop out, so I'm just going to put them in with some industrial grade super glue and they won't come out. A little dab of glue on the screw head and then push these little caps in. Hold it for about 10 seconds just for the glue to set up. This is the shower door. This is the bottom end of the shower door. Now we've got an extract fan in the shower, and what a lot of people don't allow for is the makeup air, because obviously we're extracting air out of the shower, but in order for that to work properly we've got to put air back in somewhere. So the best place to do that is at the bottom of the shower door. So what I've got is I've got these couple of little grills, nominally 150mm by 75. They've got little insect meshes on the back, but that's not essential. And then I'm just going to cut a hole in the bottom of the shower door, and then I'm going to put one of these grills on either side. And then what that'll do is when we're in there and the shower extract is on, that'll allow air to come back in, and it will just prevent that shower fan from stalling and effectively not working at all. I've marked up the hole on a bit of masking tape. I'm going to drill a couple of pilot holes so I can get the jigsaw in there, and then we're just going to cut that square out with the jigsaw. I've just given those screw heads a couple of coats with some black enamel paint. Just the smallest of pilot holes to get these screws started. This is always my favourite bit. To make room for the back of the hinge, I'm just going to remove a small section of this push-in trim. I've marked the hinge locations, offered the door up to the shower wall, and with a sharp blade I'm just going to take off some of this trim. That little rebate should just be enough to recess the back of the hinge. So that's the shower door now hung on the hinges. We've just got to fit that last little grill on the bottom there, and then we need to find some suitable door catches just for inside and out. Otherwise that completes the shower cubicle. So that finishes the construction of the shower. I've just got to run a little bead of mastic on those joints, and then we'll plumb up the shower when I do the water services in the garage. I'm struggling to find a suitable door handle for that shower door. Obviously I need something that I can open from the inside and lock it as well. So I've still got a little bit of hunting around to find something suitable for that door. I haven't come across anything I like at the moment, and it looks like it's going to do the job for me. If you found any of these videos to be useful to you, please do give me a thumbs up, and please do share them on your usual social media forums. If you're new to this channel and new to this build series, make sure that you subscribe. We've got a lot of really detailed videos on this van conversion. And as always, please do leave me a comment. I really enjoy reading all of your comments, and thank you very much for all of your support. Cheers guys.